About 3 weeks ago, I made a video about my wife and myself coming home from New York, and my wife got stuck in the airport. In other words, I walked down the flight of stairs to leave the airport, and she actually circled back and headed back to the bars. And unfortunately, we couldn't find her for about 2 hours, and where I was waiting downstairs with my friend. If you're familiar with the story, it got about, I don't know, we're up to about 1.5 million views right now. But there's one comment there's one common theme that runs through it that I think it needs additional explanation, because I constantly get, why didn't you just leave her there? Because I mean, we made many phone calls to try and contact her inside the airport, and with no response, and a lot of time was going by, and this is after a full day of traveling from New York to California, and I was exhausted. Her friend, and I'll get into that in a minute, but before I continue, if this is the first time seeing me, I was married for 25 years, and my wife succumbed to alcohol disease about 4.5 years ago. And then I want to get into this comment here in just a second. And really, nothing wrong with this comment or commenter, because I actually agree with her. But the thing is, people don't have the whole picture. And I've got probably close to 5,000 comments that kind of go along with this type of strain. Let me read it to you. As a spouse of an alcoholic, I've been through that so many times. I left my husband in another state. I've learned it's not my problem to fix. Right, we get that. Okay, I understand that. Leave her, leave her, leave her. I mean, I understand that. Tough love. Like, people are coming down on the family because they're not being big enough a-holes, I guess. And that's not part of it, because there's another element to it that needs to be discussed. Nothing against this person. I actually agree with her. The thing is, the people who make these comments don't have the full picture. The problem really was with her friend. Her friend did not want to leave her. I was ready to walk out the door and be gone. But unfortunately, her good friend, who stayed with her till the end, and my hat goes off to her, did not want to leave, and was not willing to leave, and she was willing to stick it out. So I was kind of stuck between being pissed off with sitting there all day and her friend who didn't want to leave, and it was getting very uncomfortable, the whole situation. The most important reason, and the reason why I did end up staying, is because my wife had a major surgery scheduled for the next day. She had knee replacement surgery scheduled the next day. It's one of the reasons why we were coming home at this particular day. And there wasn't a whole lot of movement to not get her there. It was something that had been scheduled for a long time. She had been on crutches for a long time. And even with that information in mind, I know people will say, well, you should have left her anyways. Well, it's an operation that needed to take place, and to have it rescheduled for a second or third time, it's about self-preservation. She needed to get the operation so she could walk around and get around, because it's exhausting as a spouse and anybody being around somebody who's not only suffering from alcohol use disorder, they have physical problems where they can't move, and you end up having to really become a caretaker. So there's a big element in there. A lot of it is self-preservation. And at this point, I mean, my wife passed away, I think 4.5, 5 months after this particular incident. It was the last time we ever flew anywhere. And I talk about these because there's always more to the story, and you can't fill it all in a TikTok, in a 4, 5, 6 minute TikTok. And the point is, families have to go through so much. Families have to go through so much when they have an alcoholic. And then when they're blamed in any way, shape, or form for the activities and the behavior of the alcoholic, it's doubly insulting. And for those families who have gone through this, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. And for alcoholics who are in recovery, who have the awareness of what they've put their families through. These are steps that the alcoholic, the person suffering from alcohol use disorder, really needs to make amends for and apologize for putting their families through that particular horror story. And they know who they are. It's all part of evolving and growing. And I bring this particular subject up because it's so important for everyone to heal, to grow, and to evolve, and to get it into recovery, and to move on with our lives, both the family and the person in the family that has alcohol use disorder. It's so important for everybody to make amends and to grow from it. And really, the last thing I just need to point out, for whatever reason, the only reason why my wife was even on this trip is because we could not leave her alone. I mean, it was a situation, if you've listened to some other videos, if left to her own devices, she would have drank herself into oblivion and, probably would have killed herself within 2 weeks, which is how long I was gone. It was an impossible situation, and it was the last time that, it was going to be put up with. We moved on from there, and unfortunately, things were already in place to, unfortunately, go our separate ways. But different things happened in place, and she's no longer with us, which has really spurned, her book, the book that I wrote, her memoir. It's called Amanda: A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. We have it out. It was released last week. Pre-orders can be met. You can find them in the link tree. Go to the link tree in my bio. You go to the website, and the PayPal link is right there, so you can pick one up. They're going to be going out, I believe, what's the 12th? They're all going out on Thursday. So whenever you're watching this, is going out on December 12th. Pre-orders are ready. I hope that helps. The last thing I want to say is that she was a very dynamic, loving, kind human being. And it's an atrocious thing that what this disease does to people. And a lot of what I do is so that other people can nip this in the bud and understand these horror stories for what they are and do something about it and save their lives and save the lives of their family. And I hope that makes sense. Thanks for listening.